What's going on, YouTube? RDAP Dan here, Federal Prison Time Consulting. Happy Saturday to everybody. And today we're going to share a really cool, awesome thing that one of our viewers named Katelyn did for us. But first, we'll give you all a few minutes to join us. I just sent out the text message, so hopefully you're on our text notification list. If you're not on the text notification list, all you need to do is text the word YouTube to 76626, and you'll get your notifications as we go live or post videos, all of the above. And let me keep an eye on this. How's everybody doing today? Who do we got in the room with us so far? Looks like we got Vlad. Vlad, it's not clickbait. It's legit, homie. You got to hang out for a minute. It's legit. Somebody did something awesome, and we're going to share it with you guys. Daniel, what's going on, Daniel? Daniel's always here. Daniel, you can count on Daniel to be here. And we got Sherry Duke. Hi, Sherry. How are you doing? Trying to stay positive. I hear you, brother. Sometimes it's easier. Some days it's a little rougher. Positivity comes in waves. And it's easy to be positive when things are going right. But what do you do when things aren't going so right? How do you fight the negativity? So we got 10 people in the room. We'll give you guys a few more minutes to join us. I'm definitely battling a cold. I've got the damn heat turned up to like 80 degrees. I'm still freezing. Sweaters on, sweaters off. And if you can't notice, we have Oliver and Einstein hanging out with us in the background. Oliver's in his little army tent, and Einstein's laying on his pillow rug. I don't even know what you want to call that. Sherry, are you new? I'm not sure if I've seen you in the room before. And if you are not new, I apologize. But if you are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Federal Prison Time Consulting. Guys, a first step act. And we're going to jump into what this awesome viewer did here in a minute, but I just want to give you guys a few more minutes to jump in and join. I got a question. How come when I do live videos from my cell phone, I don't get nearly as many viewers? Does it send out a different type of a notification? Because when I go live from here, I always assumed it was the same, whether you're on your cell phone or YouTube, I figured you got the same notification. Maybe you guys just hate when I do them from my cell phone. If you don't like when I do live videos from my cell phone, let me know. Usually I'm driving, I'm in the mood, I got an idea, and I'm like, hey, let me jump on YouTube and talk to everybody. Lisa Thomas, since the government is shut down, are federal courts shut down? I don't think so. I know people that are going to court. I had a client that had a court date yesterday. So I don't think the shutdown is going to do all that. Hi, Dan. Great visit to Pittsburgh. Tamara's hey Tamara, I got your text message, by the way, for Ian. If you don't have CJ's email, it's cj@rdapdan.com, cj@rdapdan.com, and we can definitely start working on that motion for Ian for some additional halfway house time. So go ahead and send that over to CJ. Tamara and her son are one of our clients. Lisa Thomas. How you doing, Lisa? Since the government is shut down. Okay, all right. All right, so we're going to jump into this. We got 20 people watching right now, so that's a decent amount from my little small channel. Tamara sent me a nice text message. She was like, wow, way to go with your 45, where do we have, 4,500 subscribers now or something like that? To me, that's a lot. I know there's other prison channels out there like APS and 23-in-1, and they've got millions and tens of thousands, but my content's a little different than their content. It's not purely entertainment, what we do. We try to keep it entertaining to keep you guys, watching. But for the most part, our videos are more informational and how we can help you prepare in the work that we do here. So my goal is not to have 1 million subscribers unless there's 1 million people that need help. As much as I like having subscribers and cool comments and stuff, we like to share some amazing content in what we're doing. First step act, we've already seen somebody go home. They've sent the first person out yesterday from the first step act. They are already calculating good time. We've already gotten a few calls that their good time has been updated. A few people have already moved up their halfway house dates. So the BOP is getting on top of this faster than I imagined. So I think that's a good sign, being it's just the bill just went into effect a couple weeks ago, and we're already seeing people benefit from it. So as we see more and more information, I will make sure that Uh, Big brown eyes. What the heck? No Christmas cards at Coleman Low. No Christmas spirit there. Just letters, I guess. That must be new because when I was at Coleman Low, we definitely had Christmas cards. But people ruin it. You know, they start sending things that shouldn't be in the cards. They try to hide things in the cards. They use where it looks like it might just be writing. Sometimes it's some sort of a drug or something that inmates can use to cause more issues. So there's a reason why the prison has put a lot of bans on stuff like this. I don't agree with it, but it only takes one bad apple to spoil the whole bunch. Okay, let's jump into why. This is not clickbait. Somebody said this video was clickbait. It is not clickbait. The picture is real. So I went to the office today, went in there, had to do a few things on a couple clients. So when I was in the office, mail must have come yesterday or the day before because I wasn't there yesterday. And there was mail on my desk. And I was like, oh, awesome. So this was the mail that I got. And I have, I blacked out her information because, well, you can kind of see it through there, so I won't hold it up too long. It's from Katelyn, a lady named Katelyn in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And Katelyn is a viewer of ours. So let me open this up here. This is the front of the card. And Katelyn has done something awesome because she knows, she's been watching our videos, she knows how hard some individuals have in prison, specifically when it comes to finances, that they do not have some of the things that other individuals have. They go without additional hygiene products. They go without additional, maybe a couple of soups or deodorant, some sweaters, you know, just things that you kind of need. And she went out on a limb and she sent us some money. Katelyn, actually, this is exactly how the card came. And she sent us, I believe it was $60, 20, 40, 50, 60. So Katelyn sent us $60, and I'm going to let you guys see what's in this card. I'm going to read it to you. And here's a little, that's me holding the card up when I got home today because I was pretty excited. So here's what the card says. Dan, I watch your videos on YouTube and I didn't know how to donate online. I hope this donation helps out the inmates during this holiday season. Praying your family has a wonderful Christmas filled with moments y'all will always remember. Also, thank you for all that you do. Merry Christmas. Lots of love, Kate. So this was the inside of the card that Kate sent, just so you guys can see it there. Got to figure out which way to move the camera. And the front of the card. So, you know, things like that, guys, that is absolutely why we do what we do, because it just goes to show, you know, you hear all this negativity on the news and how horrible some people are and the Grinch that stole Christmas and people robbing people during the holidays. And then you got people like Kate who says, I don't care how messed up the world is. And Kate doesn't know what I'm going to do with this money. I could go hit the liquor store right now and go spend this money and just say I donated it. So I will make a video next week. We will go do another donation. I've already posted a video for those of you that want to know. This thing is chopping up the video here. If you guys want me to replay this little video slide, let me know and I'll go ahead and repost it up there. But let me go ahead and... Oop, wrong one. That's why. Okay, there we go. I posted a video last week, I think, or the week before on how to how to send an inmate money through Western Union online. We sent money, and it was money you guys donated. So if you guys want, actually, let me bring that up real quick. If you want to donate money, you can do it a couple of ways, and I should have had this already. I prefer you do it through PayPal just because PayPal only takes like whatever, 1%, 2%, where when you do it right through the donation link on YouTube, YouTube takes like 30%. Greedy bastards. But I'm going to put my PayPal link in here in a second. So just hang tight for a second, guys. It's PayPal. I think it's paypal.me for my donation link. And if you guys want to send some money to an inmate or inmates, you guys can. And I'll give you the link. And we like to illustrate when we do that because, you know, for me, if I'm giving somebody money, I want to know that they're using it for what they say they're using it for. And sometimes you just don't have a way of knowing. All right, so we copied the link. All right, I'm going to post it in here for you guys. What's going on, Josh? Welcome, welcome. Love the videos. I love it. Josh, are you new to the room? Haven't seen you before, but I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I like to say hi to all the people I don't recognize, so I don't come off being rude. Where the hell? Sorry, my laptop is not liking me at the moment. I'm trying to get to where I can type and say hi to you guys. There we go. Okay. So there is the donation link for PayPal if you guys want to donate any money. And I also put it in the description of this video, so you'll have it there. If you want to send us money in the mail, or you want to send us a card, or anything you want to send, you just want to say hi, that's our address right there. That's the office, 601 West 1st Avenue, Suite 1434, Spokane, Washington, 99201. If you need me to say that again, just ask and I'll say it. But yeah, man, every little bit, $60 goes a long way for somebody that has nothing in prison. There's some things in prison, there's some items you can purchase in there that are like 30, 40 cents. You know, some of these soups are really, really cheap. So not everybody's going in, I'm going to go get my tuna fish and all these high-priced items. You can get some decent additional food to help you go from meal to meal. Because you don't get... Now, the BOP does feed you decent, but if you're halfway active, 3 meals a day with no snacks probably isn't enough to function if you're a grown person. And most people in prison are pretty grown. So yeah, feel free to help out any way you want. And reading some of these messages. Ron Thigpen Jr. Hey bro, got an uncle that was given life in federal prison for crack in 1997. Will this First Act bill help him get out? I would need to know a little bit more information, but it is very possible, Ron. Was there any violence? If it was a non-violent type of a crime, it is very possible that this bill could make some changes. We just saw a guy released yesterday that I think he was in for crack. He's already done like 20 years. So it is very possible. How do you choose an inmate? Just curious. How do I choose an inmate, or how do you guys choose an inmate? I can post a list of inmates that we help out. So the way we choose are basically it's people that we know for the most part. Like you guys remember Sean Cowgill. We had him on the show before he went into prison. He was not a client. We helped him out with what we could because he didn't have any money. And he was going into prison, so he was an individual that we put on our list. We usually send Sean money, if not every month, every other month. And then if you guys remember Scott Oler, I don't know if you remember Scott. Scott was one of our clients that was actually sponsored. We used to have sponsors that would sponsor individuals that couldn't afford prison consulting services. Scott was one of our guys that went in for, I think Scott got 8 or 9 years. And he's got no income, and he doesn't ever, we like to help people that aren't begging. Scott doesn't ask. We do all the begging. They don't beg. They're never going, hey, Dan, can you send me $5? It's not like driving down the street where you have a guy on the side of the road with a sign. These are very humble, respectful individuals that do not expect anything for free, but they are very appreciative when they do get it. We get some very hard, and I'll start sharing some of those emails as they come back. What's going on? Got tear talk in the room. Got to bring in the negativity. I'm just kidding. What do we got you saying over here? It looks like Trump will privatize the programs and make money that way. We don't know what's going to happen yet, but here's what we do know. Trump fan, not a Trump fan, Republican, Democrat, for the prison system, against the prison system. It's nobody can debate that there are some people that should, not to say that they shouldn't be in prison necessarily. It's not my job to decide who should or who should not be. But if you're in prison for a non-violent crime and you were sentenced to something ridiculous, life in prison, 15 years in prison, 20 years in prison, 10 years in prison, to me, that might be a bit of overkill for somebody that didn't hurt anybody. Not to say putting drugs out in the street doesn't hurt individuals, but does it really need 10, 20, 30 years for somebody to get that message? Now, if somebody's been in and out of trouble the entire time, and you only look at the fact that, okay, this person's in prison for a nonviolent crime, that's not fair, but they've got a rap sheet, that goes back pages and pages and pages, we're talking a different story. But when you take out and you isolate some of these individuals that that is a first-time nonviolent offense, or maybe a second offense, or maybe they were in and out of trouble a little bit when they were 18 or 19, a kid making stupid decisions. Everybody deserves a second, even third, even fourth chance in some situations. And this bill does allow something to take place that can promote people to do the right thing. And this bill's not just going to kick people out of prison. Yes, it's going to improve the amount of good time, but that's something the BOP was already supposed to be doing. The 54 days a year, the bill's enforcing that. Congress had to step in because the BOP was using technicalities to skate around that, to fuck people over and keep them in prison for a little bit longer when they were supposed to be given 15% good time. And the BOP was only giving them something like 47 days because they were saying, well, we're not going to give them good time for time they didn't serve. That's not what the 54 days was ever supposed to be. They were supposed to get 54 days off the top for the sentence, not for the time served. So BOP used that as a loophole to argue it. Now the Congress stepped in. President Trump signed this bill. It's forcing the BOP to do what they were supposed to do. A lot of the other incentives that the BOP is doing, where the 10 to 15 days off your sentence, not off your sentence, towards secondary, whether it be halfway house, home confinement, pre-release, things like that, they're not just giving it to people. There's going to be programs and classes and requirements that people are going to need to do. They're going to need to program for 30 days to get anything. So for every 30 days that they program successful based on whatever the qualifications of the program are, then yes, they can get an additional 10 days per month that they program towards their pre-release. And this can go above and beyond the 12 months, which I was new to find out when we had our amazing guest on last week. So these are some really, really neat steps that I think are going to make changes. Some of the programs that we think are going to help are, things like Unicor. If you don't know what Unicor is, Google it. Other things, ACE classes. Everyone goes, well, what's an ACE class? ACE classes typically are classes you can take while you're in prison that give you certificates or credentials that follow you to the outside. Example, culinary arts. Somebody wants to become a chef. They want to be a food handler, line prep, whatever. A lot of prisons have culinary arts class that you can take. And when you successfully complete this class, once you leave prison, you can actually go into the field with the degree and the correspondence course that you took while you're in prison that can carry over. Personal trainers, things like that. You can actually get licensed as a personal trainer in prison and take that to the street, and you now have a career to start. So when you're doing things that are increasing the likelihood that you're not going to go back to prison, by now having something lined up, a career-oriented goal in mind, the prison is going to create additional incentives for that. This won't help violent criminals because violent criminals are in a different category. So maybe something will come down the line later on for violent criminals to have some wiggle room. But right now, they just do not. What's up, Chrome? Chrome Vending. Chrome, how many years did you do? I met Chrome. His name's Mike. I met him at Coleman Low on the tail end of his sentence. Fucking man walks like a maniac robot. He's got an awesome channel. He's blowing up so fast. He's going to blow right past me here in the next month. But Chrome, how many years were you down? I believe it was like 17. You guys go check out Chrome Vending's channel. He's always, tell you what, man, when he started his channel, I was like, I wonder how this is going to do. Because you never know. Some channels are hit or miss. Some people never get it off the ground. But that dude was steady. Steady. And I remember he was doing videos where he was getting like 20, 30 views. Nothing, right? Nothing. He's on the map now, and he's a rising star on YouTube. And he puts out a combination of great content for anybody that's going to be an entrepreneur that wants to get into starting business for themselves, like vending machines. He puts out great content on how to do that, but damn it, does he do it interesting. And it's fun to watch. It's very interesting. It definitely is a combination of entertainment and valuable information for anybody that wants to become an entrepreneur. One of our clients, you guys might remember him, Sherry Duke, how are you doing? I apologize if I missed you. I love all the thumbs up and the blue and the green and the miniature red heart, with they followed by the thumbs up. See, I'm paying attention right now, guys. Chrome's just very, very cool dude. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him. But you guys remember Jay? What was Jay's last name? Hukasane. He was actually on our channel. He was one of our clients who was looking at, I believe, 3 to 5 years is what the prosecution was after. And We put in a lot of hard work with him. We had some amazing reference letters, personal narrative, community service involvement, life coaching that we involved Jay in. We worked with him for months and months and months, working with his attorney, and Jay ended up receiving probation. They gave him 6 months home confinement, followed by 60 months of supervised release, and the prosecutor flipped their wig. They tried to fight it. They had to reset his sentencing because the judge needed some more time to take everything in. We had Jay involved in all kinds of programming. And in the end, the judge gave him probation. It wasn't in his cards. His PSR did not recommend probation. As a matter of fact, his PSR said you are not eligible for probation based on the advisory guidelines. Remember, advisory guidelines are not mandatory guidelines. The only time you're stuck to do some sort of a prison sentence is when you have a minimum mandatory that you did not get out of. You didn't get a 5K1, or you didn't get safety valve to undo it. So when you have something like that, you're stuck. Jay did not have a minimum mandatory, but his advisory guidelines had him doing 3 to 5 years, and he ended up getting probation. Jay has now started his own food truck business, his catering business. He's doing very well with it. It's paying for itself. He's paying bills. He just bought his first house. And this is all since 2017 to now. So guys, there is an amazing ability to do the right thing. Chrome, 17 years, 2 months, and 10 and a half in the halfway house. Yeah, that's a long time, man. 17 years is how long Chrome vending was down. 17 years. The man was down more years than I was months. I was sentenced to 42 months and only served 13. Chrome did 17 years. And he's still young. I think he's my age. What are you, 40, 41, Chrome? Or 39, something like that. Dude's in amazing shape. Awesome attitude. He's just robot mode. He called me up, last week to give me some tips on what I can do to improve my YouTube channel. And it's stuff like that that is invaluable. Just to have people out there like that. T. Samarin. Hey, what's going on, my man? Rebecca Crow. Hey, Rebecca, you made it. Welcome, welcome. Rebecca's been dying to get on the live stream. Rebecca's one of our clients, and she's been dying to get on the live stream because she always works. I did this live stream just for you, Rebecca. Well, maybe not, but you can think that if you want. Did you guys say hi to Oliver and Einstein? Because they love biscuits. Wow, they're dead asleep. Usually biscuits is like the trigger word that makes them alert. Oh, look, Oliver's poked his head up. You like biscuits? It's the only word he moves for. You'd think that little dog is dead. If it wasn't for biscuits, that's the only thing he knows. That's the only word Oliver knows in his vocabulary is biscuits. Look at him. You like biscuits? You'd like to go bye-bye? Einstein. Einstein's passed out. You want to go pee-pee and poo-poo outside? That's how I talk to them. I know you guys think that's ridiculous. Do you have a video that explains the difference between probation and supervised release? T. Samarin, yes. Actually, I got your text message. I've been a little under the weather, and I've been absolutely swamped with the First Step Act, but I am going to call you after this video and go over your PSR. But your PSR does look good. You are correct. It does look excellent for RDAP, but I will call you after this video. Buddy's asking the difference between supervised release and federal probation. It's a great idea to do a video on that, and I will give you just a quick synopsis on that. So basically the difference is, I didn't know the difference on this for a long time. I knew there was a different name for it, and I knew it was not the same. You could be within the same organization, meaning the probation officer could have you for probation or for supervised release. So here's the difference. You get sentenced to straight probation versus going to prison. Okay, so let's say you're sentenced to straight probation. They say, buddy, we're not going to send you to prison. We're going to sentence you to 5 years probation. So basically you're getting a suspended sentence. So what that means is, let's say probation comes to your house. They find some drugs in your house or paraphernalia, something you're not supposed to have when you're on probation, not supervised release, probation. When you're on probation and that happens, immediately probation can remand you. You can be arrested on the spot, taken in, and it's up to the probation officer what he wants to do. He's got the power. When you're on supervised release, meaning you've fulfilled your obligation to the BOP, now you're on however many years of supervised release. Same probation officer comes in your house. Everything else is the same. The way it feels, the way you act, the way you do things, the traveling, it's all the same. The difference is when you're on supervised release, if you violate in some way, dirty UA, or they check something in your house or whatever, something of that nature, when the probation officer comes, he can't arrest you on the spot. He's going to go, sit tight. He's got to go bring it to the judge. He's going to write a report, and then the judge makes, you basically get a court date, and then the judge makes a determination what to do, violate you or not. So probation, they have the power. The probation officer makes those determinations, where supervised release, it is up to the court. So there's two different branches that you're under. So if that makes sense to you, I will do a video on that to give you a little more insight as to how that works. Does that make sense to you? But that's the basic difference. There's some additional differences, but that's the big difference from what I've gathered and understood. Rebecca, I saw Jenny told me, I guess you either spoke to Jenny or you were supposed to speak to Jenny to go over your narrative, but she said you were sick. She told me that they want to remand you until sentencing. That's not good news. You got it, buddy. So yeah, Rebecca, I'm really, really sorry to hear that. We got to get these letters wrapped up for you before you go, obviously. Did you already re-coordinate with Jenny to get a day? Tamara, did I miss something you said earlier? I feel like I saw you post something in there and then maybe I didn't respond. Follow hashtag First Step and hashtag CJ Reform on Twitter for more info on what's happening. Tamara's like the Twitter bug. We've got all kinds of names for Tamara. She's like the silent. Tamara, what was our big name for you? You were like the research ninja or something like that. Tomorrow at 10 with Jenny. That's great. You know, guys, if you haven't met our team yet, you know what we need to do? We need to do some introduction videos with our team. I need to really introduce you guys to who people are. You know, you guys, you've probably seen a little bit of CJ. Jenny Good, she doesn't like being on camera, but I think we can probably twist her arm. Jenny, you know, guys, it's so funny how things work out and how you meet people in life and how it really works out. Because when I first met Jenny, I get a lot of strange text messages. Obviously, my phone number is on the screen. So there's some strange ones out there, right? We know there's all types of people. Great, good, weird, not so weird, extra weird, whatever. And sometimes we don't just get really cool things like this in the mail. We get stuff that I won't even share with people because it's just completely absurd. I probably should share it. It'd probably make for an interesting video and probably get 1 million views. But Jenny reached out to me 2 years ago-ish and said, "Hey, Dan, saw your YouTube videos. I love what you're doing. I would love to help." I didn't know much about her, but something about the call just sounded a little off to me. So I didn't pay it much attention. I just kind of chalked it up to just a lonely person reaching out on YouTube. That's how I justified it, because I got so many of those calls and weird emails that I just kind of disregarded it. And she kept emailing, kept calling, and I'm just like, man, this woman is fucking persistent. Kept blowing her off, just a combination of being too busy, not taking it serious, whatever it was. And then it was not last Thanksgiving, but the Thanksgiving before that. Thanksgiving Day. My phone rings from a number I've never seen before. And, you know, we're starting this business. It's still kind of new at that point. We're really trying to do everything we can do and remembering what it was like for me going through holidays. Last thing I want to do is leave somebody hanging on a holiday that needs, you know, some positive vibes. So I answered the phone and she's like, "Dan?" I said, "Yeah, this is Dan. How can I help you?" "Dan, this is Jenny Good." And I think she heard it in my voice. It was like, oh, geez, getting ready to fucking eat turkey. And she even said, she goes, "I hear it in your voice, but please give me 30 seconds. And if you don't like what I have to say, I'll never bother you again." So I said, "Okay, what do you got?" So I walked away from the dinner table. We were literally getting ready to sit down and eat. Shelly's parents were in town. Her mom was in town. Her brother was there. Everybody was at my house. And she told me, she said, she really just gave me this excellent, she understood so well what we were trying to do. And she had put it together so well in her mind and articulated it on point with how she could help our clients. She even went through a mock what she thinks people could do better to improve their chances in court with narratives, character reference letters, helping them prepare, life coaching. And I said, you know, honestly, this does sound pretty amazing, Jenny. I would love to have the ability to add something like this to our arsenal and our team. And I said, unfortunately, I'm not in a position to pay anybody right now. It was just me and Shelly at that point. We had nobody else helping. Once in a while, I'd hire somebody off, Fiverr, Upwork, or something like that to do some behind-the-scenes stuff. We had a freelance writer that we would only pay when a client hired us. And Jenny said, no. I love what you're doing, and the message that you're sending people is so amazing that you're going to go places. This channel is going to continue to grow. You're going to continue to make your stand here, and I'm willing to work for you for free. I said, well, I mean, I can afford free, Jenny. I can definitely afford free. So we agreed that we would try it out for a few months, see how it goes. And as the business started growing, I said, look, if we start making money and if we can see the added qualities that you bring and you're actually going to hold up your end of the bargain and do what you say you're going to do, then absolutely I would bring somebody like that onto the team. So here we are now, a couple years later. Jenny's still here. She's so much a part of the team that, I'm even thinking about giving her some of the business. That's how, I feel like I got to sneeze. I'm definitely coming down with a cold. That's how important Jenny is to what we do. Same thing with CJ. Without Jenny and CJ, this would be a really, really struggling infrastructure to maintain. It's not something that one person can do. And if one person says they can do it, they're not going to be able to do it well because there's too many moving parts. Let me read some of these messages here. And you got Robbie in the room. Robbie's going to be my silent investor. I've got a really awesome opportunity that I can't tell you guys what it is. And I don't know if I'm going to do it yet. But I can tell you it would take me off the radar for about 2 months, meaning you guys wouldn't see me for about 60 to 90 days. And I don't know what that would do. I don't know if you guys are like, where's Dan? Did he go back to jail? So if I disappear for 60 days, guys, I did not go to jail, but I have an amazing opportunity that would do amazing things for the business if I take this opportunity. Just don't know if I want to do it. It's a lot to ask of somebody to do. And Robbie might be the man that ponies up some capital to make sure Federal Prison Time Consulting moves on forward. It would probably pay out some nice dividends to Robbie on the backside, not going to lie. But no pressure, Robbie. But Robbie's been a good friend of mine for years. I met Robbie at a job we both worked at in Florida. I was actually Robbie's boss at one point. That's how funny it is. When he was down and out, I'd give the guy a ride to the train station or the bus station, and then we became friends. And when I was going to getting ready to go to prison, when people came to show up at my court date, when the feds wanted to remand me, not at sentencing, they wanted to remand me the day they arrested us because they said I was a flight risk, even though they knew exactly where I was for 2 years. We had half a dozen people, maybe a dozen people, show up at my bond hearing, and Robbie didn't even know he was going to show up. He found out from somewhere through the grapevine that I was there, and I'm sitting there in handcuffs and shackled up in the courtroom, and there's Robbie and 10 other people all there showing some amazing support. Anybody that has some amazing friends out there, it's showing gratitude towards your friends. Don't take shit like that for granted because not everybody has something like that. A lot of people would kill to have that. A lot of people maybe don't deserve that. There was definitely a good period of my time where I didn't deserve friendship from a lot of the people that stuck around and stuck in my life. So, Robbie, I appreciate you. Rebecca Crow. So I have a question from another video. If you have taken your first plea, would you have gotten less time? No, my first plea, they offered me 60 months. And the plea that I groveled for, I mean, literally begged them for this plea because I would have got my ass handed to me at trial. They gave me the same plea. I am going to do a video. I did a video with Brian from Bounce Back. And there were some people on there making some comments in regards to my 5K1 saying, don't talk to Dan. He's a snitch. He's got a 5K1, which we all know 5K1 is a cooperation that you get where you get a downward departure for cooperating. And a lot of times 5K1 does mean you told on a lot of people. What was really cool, though, is somebody that was listening a couple days later, I think it was yesterday or the day before, they went and did their homework and they actually logged into Pacer. They pulled up everybody on my case. I even forgot some of the names. I think I'm going to do a video on this just to show you guys, you know, I'm not here to say 5K1s are good or bad. I'm not here to judge anybody. I understand what it's like if you're facing a shit ton of time and you have the ability to serve far less. I'm not here to judge, but I can tell you, everybody on my case took a plea before me. There was nobody for me to tell on. Everybody took a plea before me. And this person that, I wish I had it here with me, they posted it in Brian's video. They actually posted the dates, links to where you could go pull this information up. So yes, I have a 5K1, but there was nobody to tell on. Everybody had already everybody else got the same 5K1. Everybody on the fucking case got the 5K1. I had to tell on myself. I had to say that I knew what I was doing was illegit. And I had to say that I knew when I started doing it, it was illegit, even though a little bit of not completely true. But I had to say that in order to get the 5K1, in order to get the plea that I got and not go to prison for 15 to 20 years. So I'm going to do a video on my 5K1, and I'm going to show you all of the conspirators on the case. I'll show you the indictment. I'll show you everybody's name, and then we can look up one by one on Pacer their plea agreement, and you'll see when everybody took their plea, and it says right in the top right-hand corner, 5K1, 5K1. Everybody signed their plea before me. Some of them almost a year before me, and nobody knew. And some of them were the most gangster, hardcore, Italian mafioso type of individual that you would think from their demeanor that they're the first person that would talk about, you know, rats and snitches should be in ditches and get stitches and all this stuff. And they were the ones that went and 5K1'd on everyone else first. So I'm not talking shit about anybody that wants to do a 5K1. I just, you know, maybe do your homework before you go out there and beat somebody up, and maybe understand what it's like to walk in someone's shoes before you open your mouth, and because you might end up inserting your foot at some point. Buddy Barrett, so if you have time, one last question. I'm on pretrial release. I completed drug treatment. Now, is that going to disqualify me from RDAP because it's completed? Absolutely not. So real quick, and we've done a lot of videos on this, and I know they're not completely organized. I'm working on creating my playlist. Thanks to Chrome Vending, Mike, high five, because my playlists make it easier for you guys to find the content you're looking for. So RDAP, qualifying for RDAP, this basically just means, I'll get to your question in a minute, CyberDoc. RDAP, it's all based on prior to your indictment. After you're indicted or arrested, whatever happens from that point forward, you can get completely clean. Like for me, I was out on pretrial from 2011 until 2014. Clearly, during that time, I wasn't using any drugs. I wasn't doing anything that I wasn't supposed to do. I was drinking a little bit, nothing crazy. But it's prior. It's the 12 months prior to your indictment or your arrest up until your indictment. After your indictment, like if you get arrested today and you form a heroin addiction, that's not going to get you into RDAP. It's prior to that. So when you're in your PSR interview, when they ask you, when did you start using drugs? When did you start drinking? Prescriptions, marijuana, whatever it is. When did you start and when did you stop? If you don't know how to organize this and you're just kind of in freak out mode because you think, well, I can't tell them anything, and you tell them, well, I haven't used, I'm always clean, well, you're not going to qualify. But if you tell them that I started drinking heavily after my indictment, but before that I was fine, you're not going to qualify. Same side, to be clear with you here, buddy, if you were a heroin addict prior to your indictment and you got indicted and then you put yourself through drug programs and you became clean and you're out on pretrial for 5 years and you've been clean the entire time, but prior to the arrest you had a drug addiction, you can take RDAP. And if that was complicated at all, or if I maybe didn't explain that properly, let me know and we can chat about it again. CyberDoc, how do you convince large money management firms like the Vanguard Group to stop investing in the GEO groups, G4? Well, I don't know. I don't know if you can. You know, everything's driven by money. Even things like the First Step Act. We don't know what the real intent behind it. Does Trump and other Republican parties care about prison reform? Do they actually? No, probably not. Maybe they do. We don't know. But we do know that it's all based on political moves. Trump's not a dummy. Whether you love the man or hate the man, he's not stupid. He may say some stupid things on Twitter, but that also might be part of his game plan. People that hate him are benefiting from him right now. So I don't know, how much can you hate somebody that's benefiting people? Who cares what their reason for doing it? Pathway to hell is paved with great intentions. Doesn't mean good things are going to happen. So if Trump is behind these prison reform bills right now and supporting it and saying, yeah, we need to let people out of prison, but really he's just doing it because he wants, to get reelected, who cares? Who cares what the reason is? It's doing good things. So now when you talk about political moves and making money and people investing in privatized prisons, it's maybe down the road it will become an issue, but right now it's not on a radar. It's not something that people are focusing on. You might be focusing on it, and the best thing you can do is voice your opinion, call your congressman, write them, Twitter, start. Social media has become more valuable than most news stations. Most news stations get their information from social media. Half the time I see something on the news, I already saw it on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube. 99% of the time I've already seen it. And I feel all smart when I'm watching the news. I'm like, oh, I saw that on Facebook earlier today. It's like, that's where your news and media is. We're in an age where technology is moving so rampant and so fast that if you don't pay attention, if you're only looking for your news on news networks, you're probably missing out on a large portion of where your information is going to come from. And not to mention, you get so many different views and opinions when you're involved in social media. Yeah, there's a lot of shit talking and Twitter fingers and gangsters behind the screen that want to talk trash and talk shit that probably wouldn't say anything in the real world. But to me, it's all about, if you care about a topic, then make your stance on it and start talking about it. Just like my 5K1. Let's go back to the 5K1. People talk shit about me having a 5K1. The only way any of you know that I have a 5K1 is because I told you I had a 5K1. I told people in prison I had a 5K1. I didn't hide from it because I'm not ashamed of it. People aren't stupid. We don't live... People that go to prison, for the most part, people might be naive when they're getting ready to go into prison, but once they get there, they get educated real fast because you have no choice. You start learning things that you should have been paying attention to prior to prison. So when I was in prison, and people were telling me, so how much time did you get? 42 months. What was your crime? How many counts? And then I remember my co-defendant, Sean. I have no respect for this guy at all. Never will. Never really did. We weren't friends. We were co-defendants. He was the owner of the pain clinic. Sean portrays tough guy, gangster, involved with all he's very much like a wannabe mafioso kind of a guy. Very much a wannabe. Let's be clear. He's a wannabe. But he's the first dude to go fucking rat behind your back. And look, I get it. If you got to tell on somebody to save your own skin, that's fine. But the way this man did it was just shady, shady, shady. He tried to get me removed from RDAP. Sean Clark, I'm 5K1 the shit out of him right now. Sean Clark tried to get me removed from RDAP while I was in the program. I was in the program for 2 months. I'll make a video on this one day, and we'll just do a whole video on Sean. So I'm in the program. And I get called into Dr. Smith's office. Dr. Smith is the RDAP coordinator. She's in the actual unit. She calls me in, and I'm with my buddy Joe Lees. Joe's a friend of mine on Facebook. Joe's been down. Joe did some real time. And look, anybody that's been in prison did real time. Okay, you can't minimize what somebody did just because you might have gone to prison for, Chrome. Chrome went to prison for 17 years, but Chrome never once said to me, man, fuck you, Dan. You only went to prison for 42 months. You only did 13. We can't even talk. He's never disrespected me in that way. Time is time. You're away from your family. Uproot your life. Time is time. So Dr. Smith calls me in her office, and I'm in there with Joe. And she said, I need to talk to you about something. I was like, okay. She's like, Joe, can you step out? And to me, I was like, no. Keep Joe here, because that sounds like maybe I'm going to tell her something and we don't want any other inmates to hear because I'm telling on somebody. So that came to my mind. I'm like, no, Joe can stay. Joe knew everybody in the unit. Everybody was cool with Joe. So the last thing I wanted Joe to go back and say, be careful what you say to Dan, because Dr. Smith's in there talking to him and she kicked me out. That could mean you're in there telling on other inmates. And I didn't want to get that message portrayed. So she's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah. She's like, be careful who you talk to on the compound. And that's what she said to me. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, just be careful who you talk to and what you say. I'm like, what does that mean, Dr. Smith? You can't just leave me with that. So I'm pressing her. And she was pretty cool. She wasn't like your typical prison staff. She treated you like a human being. RDAP was hard there, but it was fair. If you did what you were supposed to do and you tried, that goes a long way. Otherwise, I would have been kicked the fuck out of RDAP a long time ago. So she said, okay, how well do you know Sean Clark? I'm like, what? I'm like, I mean, I've known him for a few years. You know, I rented office space from him in Boca. He was the one that opened up the pain clinic. He's the one that offered me the job. I'm like, I mean, I know him pretty good. I wouldn't call us like buddies. We're prison buddies. I walk the yard with him, eat with him, things like that. She's like, well, he didn't come into her office. He wrote what's called a kite. He wrote a letter and slid it under her door. And I don't know why this fool put his name on it, because she ratted him out. She 5K1'd him. She said, so Sean came in the office and said, you're not a real drug addict, that I faked and I lied during my PSR. I said, well, she said, well, before you say anything, it doesn't matter. It's in your PSR. I don't care. I'm just letting you know that the man is out to get you. Be very careful what you say to him. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, wow. She's like, don't cause any problems, because you'll be the one to end up losing your RDAP. You know, Sean is very, very bitter because he didn't qualify for RDAP, because a year prior to his arrest, this idiot got arrested for bookmaking, and he went and enrolled himself in AA and NA and all kinds of classes to show that he was getting clean, so he didn't have to go to any kind of jail time or get whatever for his state charge. So when he did his plea agreement, when he pled guilty on the Fed side, he had been clean for way more than a year prior to the arrest of the federal case. So he didn't qualify for RDAP. And he was so sure he was going to get in the program. He got to prison about 20 days before me. And he kept bragging about how he was going to get in the program and he was going to get out. And I was like, that's great, man. That's awesome. I'm trying to do the same thing. And he's like, well, you probably won't get it because you don't have enough time. Just all Guido. He got less time than me. He got a shorter sentence than I did. And he was the leader of the pact. So, you know, I was fine, whatever. Sean's doing his thing. And then he got denied for RDAP because it wasn't in there. And this man, he had his parents calling lawmakers and governors and the president, doing everything he could do trying to get into the program. And it just wasn't happening. Dr. Smith is like, it's not in your PSR. I'm not budging. And unfortunately, there wasn't an amazing RDAP Dan out there for Sean to reach out to. So when she told me this, I'm like, holy shit. So I never told Sean that I knew that. You know, I'm the kind of guy, keep your enemies close, or keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So I'm just rolling around the compound, just pretending like. So one day, me, Sean, and another group of guys that he likes to hang out with, and these are all like legit OGs that have been down for years and years and years. A lot of the Italian dudes, we're all hanging out, and they're all talking about the things that they used to do, this and that. And I started talking about when we took our plea agreement. I'm like, hey, Sean, remember when we had to go to Georgia and we were taking our plea agreement and they wanted to offer us like 20 years? And he's all, pulls me off to the side. He's like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can't talk about that stuff. I'm like, why? They don't know you got a 5K1? And I already knew they didn't know. He's like, bro, what the fuck? What the fuck? And he's getting all upset and he's talking all like crazy talk to me. And I'm like, just remember, I know what you said to Dr. Smith. And then he played dumb like he didn't know what I was talking about. And that's the one thing I ever said to him. Then 6 months later, he's trying to get out of prison. He's literally coming to me saying, I have an idea how we can get out of prison. He's asking me if I know anybody out on the street that's breaking any laws. And I was like, what? I was like, what? He's like, I got an in with an agent, a DE agent or somebody, or I can't remember if it was a U.S. Marshal. Somebody was coming to see him for a visit because he had some information on some kind of an illegal telemarketing operation ring out there that he wanted to give them information for Rule 35 so he could shorten his 40. He got a 40-month sentence instead of 42. He had a 40-month prison sentence, and he's already got maybe 7 or 8 months in. And now he wants to try to go tell on additional people to get more time off. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to fucking know anything about this. Are you crazy? You're going to go start telling on additional people? If people knew that, even in a low, and they have so much more time than you, and you're here like trying to rat people out and cause more problems, and you're smiling to their face like you're some like legit gangster. Those are the type of people that go to prison, man. I'm telling you, prison is full of shit-talking fools. And when you see all these people gangster type it on text and Instagram and YouTube saying, oh, you're a snitch, I would never do that. The people that sit there and talk about how they would never do it, they're probably the first ones to go telling everybody they know. So I'll be more than happy to do a video, go through my entire indictment. I will show you everything from the day I got arrested to the day I took my plea. I took my plea in 2014. Every other plea was done between 2012 and 2013. I was the last person to plea. The only person that did not put a 5K1 on me was Shelly. She was the only one that did not give any information to me, and that's why she went to prison. If there's any gangsters in our bunch, it's fucking Shelly, because she's the only one that said, I'm not talking to nobody about nothing. And she ended up, the judge still downward departed because her position in the company was so low. They couldn't give her a conspiracy charge because they couldn't get her on a conspiracy. The only thing they could charge Shelly with was a crime called misprison of a felony. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It just basically means you probably knew something may have been going on, you didn't report it. And Shelly, the day they came to our house and they kicked in our doors and they put me and Shelly in handcuffs, Shelly was upstairs in the shower, so the female went upstairs to get her, the female officer. Shelly had never been in trouble before, never been in handcuffs. She's always been a bit mouthy. Shelly's got an attitude. She can handle herself. She came downstairs, they had her in handcuffs, and I was already sitting in the chair, handcuffed up. And as she walked by me, she's like, don't say a word. And they took her outside, put her on the patio. And I'm like, damn, my girlfriend's a gangster. But, you know, exactly, Tamara, Shelly is a gangster. CyberDoc, did I miss something? Oh, no, I got you. Okay. Social media helped pass. Social media absolutely helped the First Step Act pass. 100%. You got all these millions of people that probably don't know how to call the governor's office or senators, but they know how to get on Twitter and voice their opinion. So it was clear where everybody was trying to go. Sean Clark is a big guy. Yeah, you know Sean Clark. He probably tried to make it sound like he was a gangster to you, Chrome. Sean Clark's a big guy. He acts like he's Italian, but he's really, he's Irish. He's like an Irish-Italian wannabe mobster. And look, if Sean was a real gangster and a real mobster, I wouldn't be on here talking trash about him. Oh, there's Shelly letting the babies out. Shelly, come say hi. Hi. She doesn't want to come say hi. But, you know, I had no problems with nobody in prison. And everybody, actually people respected me because I told them the truth. They were like, yo, not a lot of people, I mean, obviously, in Chrome will tell you, I never did time in a medium or a pen. I probably wouldn't have did so hot in a medium or a pen with a 5K1. And honestly, I didn't know what a 5K1 was when I got it. It wasn't like they were like, if you go tell on people, we'll give you more time off. They just said, if you cooperate and tell us what we need to know, we'll give you what's called a 5K1 departure, where we'll give you a 3-level deduction off of your base offense level. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but they never asked me to tell about anybody else. Never once. They already knew everything. Everybody else had already cooperated and taken their plea. I had to beg for mine. They didn't want to give it to me. They were going to take me to trial. And everybody that signed their plea before me, part of their plea agreement was, if Dan does not take his plea, all of you have to testify against them. I would have been the one getting shot at by everybody else except for Gangster Shelly. All these other legitimate gangsters. The dogs did not eat Shelly. Shelly's asking me if the dogs ate in here. It's so funny. What do you do if your federal prosecutor is a real tight ass and wants to burn you? Hey man, that's 99% of the time. Federal prosecutors are out to make a name for themselves. Federal prosecutors are not going to be your friend. They might smile, they might shake your hand, but they are slimy, slimy, slimy. So what can you do? Do your best to prepare your reputation so you can not defend yourself because you're probably going to take a plea, but defend yourself in the aspect of present yourself in the best light possible when it comes to your narratives, character reference letters, your community involvement. If you're out right now and you're in the free world and you're going through something, you have the ability to do what others don't have that are locked up right now, that are sitting in county jail. They don't have the ability to do all of these things that you do. So that's part of what we do. That's how we educate you and prepare you to put you in that situation by taking you through these steps. I'm telling you, like the guy I told you about, Jay Hugasane, client of ours who was supposed to get 3 to 5 years. He had a hard-ass, tight-ass prosecutor that wanted to hang him out to dry. And he prepared so well that the judge went against the prosecutor, went against the PSR recommendation, and gave him probation. So you have to put yourself out there. You got to do things different. All of you that are getting ready to go to prison, there's nothing special about you. You're no different than anybody else that's going to prison. And that's the problem. Nonviolent, first-time offenders, white-collar criminals, blue-collar criminals, if you're a decent person that's facing prison time, we tend to put ourselves in a different bracket where we think, hey, I'm not going to go to prison. The judge is going to see I'm a good person. The judge sees good people just like you every single day. Every single day. In and out, in and out, in and out. You're just a product coming through the line that he's going to stamp, send off to the big house. So how do you appear to be different? You have to do things that are different. Your personal narrative needs to look different. Your character reference letters need to look different. What you're doing in the community needs to be different. Just staying out of trouble, doing what you're supposed to do on probation, maintaining a basic job, that's not enough. That's the bare minimum, and that's what everybody does. Most people that have never been in trouble before, they don't get in trouble while they're on probation. They're not out breaking the rules and getting dirty UAs. They're doing exactly what you're doing. They're staying out of trouble. They're staying low, and they think that's going to look good for them. Well, I've been out on pretrial for 3 years. Won't the judge see that I've been doing the right thing for 3 years? How are they going to benefit sending me to prison? Quit trying to rationalize and make sense of it, because it doesn't make sense. So bust your ass. And that's why people pay us money. They don't pay us money to teach them how to survive in prison. People aren't paying me money to tell you how to prepare to build a shank or protect yourself or how to save your butthole from being taken. Those aren't things that are going to happen for the majority of you that are going to prison. You know, Chrome was at some places where that may have been some legit shit, but for most of you that are in this room right now that are looking at a reasonable amount of time in a lower security prison, how do you mitigate against that? How do you stand up and fight? That's why I struggle so much. This SOB is a maniac, Dan. Who are we talking about, Gifted Fingers? What do you do if you're... Oh, you're talking about the prosecutor. I didn't realize you were the same question. I get it, but you can't change that, right? You have no control over what this prosecutor is going to do. You have no control over things that the judge is going to see, hear, read, think, the stories he's going to hear. What you do have control over is what you do from this point forward every single day. Just knowing that the prosecutor is a piece of shit doesn't change anything. It just makes you know you got to work that much harder. If I told you, Gifted Fingers, if I said to you, if you do what I say, I guarantee probation. As a matter of fact, if I said to you, Gifted Fingers, $100,000, I guarantee probation. Guarantee it. You would find a way to come up with that money. So the problem is you need to look at the situation as if you do all of these things, you will get probation. Because when you believe it and you put 100% effort into it and you are shooting to land on those fucking stars, you're going to get somewhere closer to it than you would have gotten if you just used the self-defeated thought of going, well, what's the point? The guy's an asshole. He's out to get me. Why should I try? We see that self-defeating thought with most of our clients early on. That's one of the biggest things that we work on is in the life coaching, the mindset coaching with Jenny. That's one of the bigger things that we focus on that people don't understand how valuable that is until they're involved with it and they go, man, now I see why we hired you. Now I see the benefit. I'm going to admit, when I first hired you, I was wondering, what is Dan really going to do for me? 60 days in, 90 days in, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months later. You're seeing your entire life change in front of you, in most cases for the better. That's why it's so important to follow the steps and the roadmap to success that we didn't just create it. We took bits and pieces that were already put together. There's some other consultants out there that are, look, there's other consultants that because of what we're doing, we've changed the way the game works now. There's other consultants that didn't do any of this bullshit that we do. They didn't do any of it. They called it all bullshit. That's what I meant to say. Everything that we do, they're like, it's just bullshit. Now, they've snuck it in. You'll start reading some of their stuff. They're talking about how they prepare the character references. They get you involved in the community. They're starting group calls. Hey, I'm glad they're doing it because that's why I started doing this, because I said to myself, man, if everybody just started doing things for the right reason, things would start to change. And even if some of these other consultants aren't doing it for the right reason, they're doing it because we're like, well, fuck, RDAP Dan's doing it and we keep losing business to him. So we got to start offering some of the things that he does in order to compete. Not only does he cost less money than us, but he does a hell of a lot more work than we do. How do you compete with somebody that offers more value at a smaller price? You have to be insane to go anywhere else, right? Or you get sold on a bill of goods and you believe some bullshit. Oh, Dan's a scam. He's going to take your money and not do anything. He lies to you. He pretends. Guys, You can't make this shit up. You just can't. You know, I'm not here to act and prepare and look like an attorney. We put in hard work and effort, and we grind. We grind. I'm not here to be your best buddy, even though a lot of us do become friends. We do. 2 of my clients here local in Spokane, they just got their indictment. Gifted Fingers, I just got your text. I'll check this after we get off the phone, and I still gotta give another client a call back. I need to go over his PSR with him. So after I'm done with that call, I will get back on you. Robbie, it disgusts me how dishonest the Fed is. They're a legalized mafia. Trump has identified this. How in God's name do the people miss this? Look at the Mueller investigation. People's lives ruined. It's just the way it goes, man. It's no matter what side of the spectrum you are on, you're going to see some good shit, some bad shit. Guys, that's about all I got time for. We're like an hour into this video, and if I want anybody to ever watch this video later, I'm going to have to wrap it up right now. Or the goldfish people that don't have attention spans longer than like 30 seconds are going to go, oh my God, it's an hour video. I can't watch that. We have an amazing video coming up. I did an interview at Gonzaga. Not an interview, I'm sorry, a speech at Gonzaga University here in Eastern Washington. And it's in post-production right now, getting finished up on the edits. I'm going to share that with you guys. It's like a 40-minute speech, and I had a really good time. Amazing school. I got to speak to the pre-law students about bridging the gap between the things that attorneys could be doing better. I'm also going to be doing some work with the Defender's Office, the Federal Defender's Office of Eastern Washington District, all the way through Idaho and even into Canada. So that's going to be really, really interesting. GED still get RDAP. What was that, Rebecca? Rebecca is asking a question. GED still get RDAP. Rebecca, if you can ask that one more time, I can answer that question, because that might be a question other people have as well. And that will be the last question I take. Did anybody, was anybody sending any donations? Do you need my link again? This is me begging for money. Boom. That's how I beg. The Twitter fingers. Yeah, buddy. We want to help people. We want to give people something in prison that have less. $5, $10, $20. Just like this client right here. Not a client, I'm sorry. Viewer sent us a nice $60 hard cash. So we're going to go show you how we're going to donate that next week, how we're going to put it onto somebody's books. This time we'll do it through like a Western Union kiosk, since we already did the video. Rebecca, if I have to do the GED program, can I still get RDAP? Absolutely. Absolutely you can, Rebecca. You don't have to have your GED to get into RDAP. You will have to take a test, an aptitude test, prior to getting into RDAP. And I believe your reading and writing levels need to be at like a basically equivalent to like a grade 7 on the little test you got to take in order to enter RDAP. But they will make you go into the GED class as well as RDAP. You'll be doing both. All right, guys, that's all I got. Make sure, please donate, help, send money. We're going to be doing a cool raffle here, guys. I've talked about it before. And these are all, like, everything we do here is to help somebody. I'm not trying to make money on any of this stuff. This is handmade in the leather shop at Coleman Lowe. Chrome probably remembers Coleman Lowe and the leather shop. You see some, and this thing is heavy. It's legit. It's got legit buckles on it. It's authentic leather, and it's all handmade from an inmate that's been down for quite a while. And we're going to do a raffle on this, and the money that's collected is going to go back to him to produce more of these products that he sells. That's how he makes his money in prison to survive with commissary. He makes these products, he sends them home, and we're going to do a raffle where you guys can win this awesome, I don't know, backpack purse thing. I guess that's what you'd call it. I don't know. I was going to just give it to Shelly because it's so damn cool. But if you guys want to get in on this, keep your eyes peeled, because we'll be doing a raffle on that in the next week or so. All right, everybody. Have a great night, great weekend. I'm going to a Christmas party. A little late after Christmas, but Shelly's having a Christmas party, so we're going to go. You're welcome, Rebecca. Very welcome. Anybody, I'll be giving some phone calls to you all in a few minutes that are waiting for phone calls. I love everybody. I'm RDAP Dan, Federal Prison Time. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like. Text the word YouTube to 76626. Put you on a notification list, and I will see you guys soon. People helping people. Community is method. One day at a time. 5K1 RDAP Dan. Outie.